Using eGeo's aggregate functions, we are going to calculate a pseudo inversion deep resistivity curve from some legacy electric log data, which includes a deep resistivity and a high resolution log, such as an unaveraged micro resistivity or a gamma ray log, or both where available. Let's open the curve calculator, right click. Our aggregate functions will help us define geological formation layers that will enable us to more accurately estimate borehole corrections required for the deep hole resistivity log, including those corrections associated with bed thickness and shoulder bed resistivities. Let's run the aggregate function in isolation to get a better idea of what it's doing. We're going to look at the GRC curve. Every time it makes a 20% change, we're going to start a new formation layer boundary. Let's go ahead and calculate. From the starting value, we calculate an average until we get a 20% change, and then at every other 20% change, we isolate another formation layer boundary. Using the keyword AVG count in conjunction with our aggregate function, we can exploit the formation layer thickness in our calculations. Let's give our curve a different name. Formation thick, calculate. Let's update our scale from 0 to 100. I've looked at the data earlier, and this first formation layer has a count of 24. So with the 6-inch sampling intervals of our data, the first formation layer has a thickness of 12 feet. Going back to the full formula, if the GRC formation layer found at 20% delta has a value less than 75, which is the approximate clean cutoff from log, and the focused resistivity, RFOC curve, is greater than 1.25, our approximate shell resistivity from log, then we're going to apply a factor of greater than 1 to our induction deep resistivity, RILD curve, that decreases as the bed thickness increases. If the GRC formation layer found at 10% delta has a value more than 75, but less than 100 and a thickness of greater than 2 samples, that is 1 foot, then we're going to apply a factor with a limit of 1 to our deep resistivity curve that increases as the bed boundary thickness increases. If neither of those conditions apply, then we'll return our deep resistivity curve. Let's calculate. From our legacy data, we have now created a pseudo inversion deep resistivity curve on which advanced petrophysical calculations may be based. We'll show how we use this data to revise water saturation estimates and reevaluate a deeper oil-water contact of a prospective hydrocarbon reservoir. Let's take a look at the overall process and the end results. We started with some legacy data that we digitized with our auto tracer, then applied water saturation from Archie, enhanced with aggregate functions. From our calculated data, you can see we now have higher resistivities in this zone and the zone below. In the furthest column on the right, we have calculated 2 estimated water saturations. The one in red from the original RILD, the one in green is from the pseudo inversion resistivity, which revises our estimate of the true resistivity in these 2 zones. We can see our green curve moves further to the left, indicating we have less water and a greater hydrocarbon saturation through the top zone. That 20% difference can make the difference on whether that zone should be produced or not. In the bottom zone, where we previously indicated 100% water, we are now indicating 50%. That in itself may not be significant as it is a thin bed, but what may be significant is we are indicating an oil-water contact that is 30 feet below where it might have been indicated in the original log. If that is mirrored throughout the prospective field, that would indicate another 20 to 30 feet of hydrocarbon potential.